All right, great job figuring out how to sort the crayons. Now we're looking at page 600 and we're going to look at the model and draw. So we're going to look at a graph, and the graph title at the top, if we read it together, says food we like. Now, I noticed that this graph looks pretty different from our bar graph. So you're going to notice that these different types of graph take information the same way, but it's going to look different. So this time we're still graphing the number of children, but we used tallies. So if we look at our little ladybug here, she says you can use a tally chart to collect information. So just like a bar graph, we can use our tally chart. Now, a little reminder that a tally by itself equals 1. So we just count on 1 for every tally. But remember, when we get to 5, we cross it over. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you see a group of 5, we want to count on after that by ones. Okay, so let's look at the tally graph and look at this one together to see if we can figure out the children. So if we look, we see chicken and pizza. Now, that helps me to understand that they must have asked some children what food they liked better and graphed whether it was chicken or pizza. So we're going to look at chicken first, and let's count it together. So I want you to point. I notice that I don't have any crossed out, so I'm just going to count by 1. Can you point to each tally and count by 1? 1, 2, 3. All right, easy. Now remember, they just want you to trace that over with them and make the number 3 at the end. So 3 children like chicken. Now, I'm pretty sure that our class would probably be similar because a lot more friends liked pizza. So let's look at how we count this one. Now this one, we want to use our count on strategy to help us. We want to look and say, oop, I know right away that that's 5. I'm going to count on from 5 for this one and say 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 children liked pizza. So I'm going to write the number 8. At the bottom, it just reminded us what we talked about over here, that each one tally equals 1 child. And that the 5, like this, represents 5 children. So once we look at our graph, we see 3 like chicken and 8 like pizza. So it says more children like blank. They wrote it with us, but we know that more children like pizza. So we want to trace over that word pizza. And it's right on your page for you. So just trace it over with me. All right. Now you're going to work on the next one. We'll kind of look at it together, and then I'm going to read for you the ones, but notice that we have those checks down here, which are showing me my quick check. So we want to be able to try and do that one a little bit more on our own. So let's look at our chart. It says boys and girls in our class. Boys, girls. So for this one, I notice that I, again, have that set of 5. So I want to count on from 5. So if you're counting, you're going to start with 5 and then count by ones. 6, 7, 8, and then you're going to write your number at the end over here. So how many boys are in the class? Then with girls, I notice the same thing. I'm going to count on from 5. 5, and then keep adding your ones. If there's only 1, then we know it's 5 and 1 more. So what number would go there for girls? Next, you're using that tally chart to answer your questions. So for numbers 1 and 2, all you're using are these numbers you wrote right over here. Now, I didn't write them because I wanted you to do this one. So it says, how many boys are in the class? So you're going to find boys and write that number. I'm so sorry. I read number 2. Let's read number 1. Number 1, how many girls are in the class? So for that, you're going to take the row that says girls, trace your finger all the way over, take this number, and write it on that first line, blank girls. How many girls did you count? Then number 2, how many boys are in the class? Again, go up to the top, trace over. How many boys did you count? Write that on the line. For number 3, it says how many children are in the class in all. So for that one, remember, if it's in all, it means all together. So you want to put both of these numbers, sorry friends, my hair gets caught. You want to take both of these numbers and add them together. Now, could you count your tallies instead? Absolutely. But you just want to tell me how many boys and girls are there all together in the class. So can you tell me how many tally marks we made all together? You're going to write that right on that bottom line. And last, it says, are there more boys or girls in the class? So for this one, you want to look at your two numbers and tell me which one's higher. If it's more boys, you write boys on the line. If it's more girls, then you write girls on the line. When we're all done, we have one more page left, and you are done with math for the day. Turn to page 601.